Hello, I'm Richard Cook from Fife Properties, and today I'm going to talk about the new tax changes affecting property investors and landlords. Now, every new tax year signals the implementation of a number of new tax measures that have been announced by the government in their previous budgets, and this year was no different. There are some tax changes that have came into force as of the 6th of April 2020 for our current 2020-21 tax year that are really important for property owners, landlords and investors to be aware of. Now, firstly, I'm going to cover capital gains tax, and one of the most important changes affecting property owners this new tax year is the one regarding new capital gains tax payment deadline. As of the 6th of April 2020, UK residents who sell or dispose of a UK residential property that is not their main home, for example, buy-to-let properties, business premises, land, or if a property is inherited or gifted to them, then they will now have only 30 days from the completion date to inform HMRC about the sale and pay any money owed, or they risk being fined. Now, this 30-day payment window is significantly different from the previous allowance of payment window that enabled property owners to delay payment until their next January tax return payment. There are also changes for non-UK residents selling both residential and non-residential property in the country, and non-UK residents will still be required to tell HMRC within 30 days whether there is tax to be paid or not, but will also no longer be able to defer payment to their self-assessment return. There are some exemptions to the rules, and HMRC say that UK residents won't have to report a sale or make payment if a property has a legally binding contract for the sale before the 6th of April 2020. If they meet the criteria of a full private residential relief, which I'll cover later on, or if the gift was made to them by a spouse or a civil partner. Also, if the gains, including any chargeable residential property gains in the same tax year, is within their tax-free allowance. Also, if a property is sold at a loss or the property is sold outside the UK. You'll also have to pay capital gains, not have to pay capital gains if the property is owned by a UK residential company or a non-UK resident company, or of course if the property is a furnished holiday let. Now, private residential relief is a benefit that enables property owners to sell their main residential home without having to pay capital gains tax. Property owners qualify for private residence relief if all the following apply. If you have one home and you have lived in it as your main home for all of the time you've owned the property. If you have not let out part of the property, and this does not include having a lodger. You have not used part of it as a business. If the grounds, including all buildings, are less than 5,000 square metres, which is just totaling over an acre, you did not buy it just to make a profit or a gain. Now, if a property owner does not meet all these criteria, they may have to pay capital gains tax. And changes to private residential relief under these previous 2019-2020 rules, property owners were exempt from paying capital gains tax for the final 18 months they owned the property, irrespective of whether they were living in it or not. However, the 18-month exemption period has now been cut to 9 months for the new 2020-21 tax year. Mortgage interest tax relief. Again, as of the 6th of April 2020, UK landlords can no longer offset a percentage of their mortgage interest payments against the rental income from their rental properties. This benefit has gradually been phased out since 2017, and instead they will only be able to claim a basic rate of tax, which is currently 20%, against their financing costs, and this includes mortgages, interest payments when filing their tax returns. This reform affects the way taxable income is calculated and means a larger portion of landlords will pay more tax. Those affected by the changes will be UK residents and individuals who let residential properties in the UK and overseas, non-UK resident individuals who let residential properties in the UK, individuals who let such properties in a partnership, trustee and beneficiaries of a trust liable for income tax on the profits of a property. And those who are not affected by the changes will be UK and non-UK resident companies and landlords of furnished holiday lets. Now, furnished holiday lets and landlords of companies not affected by the changes will continue to receive tax relief for interest and other finance costs in the usual way. Today I've covered most of the relevant points for landlords and investors with regards to the tax changes for this year. There are a few others, and I have provided a link in the post above to the government website which gives all the advice about the tax changes for the year 2020-21. Also, if you would like any further information or speak to me about any of the details that I have included in today's video, please contact me direct on my email, which is richard.cook@fifeproperties.co.uk, or indeed you can contact me direct on 0790 9093 141. My name's Richard, this is Fife Properties TV.